Hello, welcome to the Lately in JavaScript podcast hangout. And as always, I have here with me Michael Kim. So, Michael, is that you? Oh, you are
No,
different.
yeah, I'm a
It's-
little bit different.
oh, obviously, it's not Michael Kim. So, unfortunately, Michael could not make it. He's very, very busy with his work and also the conference that he organizes every year. And hopefully you'll get back in a couple months. But fortunately, I have here with me Cesar Rodas that is going to help me with this hangout. How are you, Cesar? How are you doing?
I am doing fine, thank you. And how are you doing?
I'm fine. Always busy trying to record interesting hangouts, and this month we have quite a few interesting topics of things that have been out, were released, the libraries and the tools of the interest of the JavaScript developers. And what I would like to start this month is about one thing that let me share the screen related with using scope analysis tools um, to detect bugs that may creep in your code. And scope analysis tools are great because they allow you to analyze your code statically, I mean, before you actually execute it, and tell you about things that are potentially wrong. So I found this interesting article here regarding scope analysis tools for JavaScript code of Arya Dayata. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing his name right, but the article is very simple and interesting. It talks about a tool named a scope, which is available on GitHub. Let me try to also increase the font here. And what it shows, I mean, what it can be used for is to do some static analysis for your code, and you can actually see uh, uh, how your code is structured. Um, uh, there is a video here that shows a demo of the tool being used, which is very interesting because it can spot some things that may be wrong. And but back to the original article, I have here a very simple example that uh, of a function that is declared, and there is a use of a variable that it, it was mistyped here, and the actual name of the variable that is initialized is incorrect. So at the runtime, it will trigger an error. But we hopefully would be more interesting for us that we can anticipate these mistakes that unfortunately are very common, and so we do not ship such a buggy code. Um, Cesar, have you ever used any static analysis tools in JavaScript or maybe in other language and found it useful to detect the bugs early?
Uh, Actually, I've been using some dynamic tools before for JavaScript. The thing is that it wasn't really important because I wasn't doing much JavaScript until a couple of years ago, where I started playing with a Node.js, which is JavaScript, but it's the server side. So there I use all kind of tools to just debug memory leaks, basically, and that was one of the first mistakes that I had. Like I forgot to declare one given variable as a local, or I forgot a comma. So when I was declaring many variables, so that was a common mistake. So if I had one of these tools, my life would be just much easier.
Yeah.
But yes, then I spend like this problem. It really doesn't exist in other programming languages, as far as I'm aware of. Like in Python and in PHP, if if a variable is declared, it is always local. In JavaScript, it keeps looking
Right.
in the upper scope until it becomes global eventually. Uh, I believe that many people they did that for security reasons. Many other design that their programming languages for performance issue. But yes, I've been definitely using that. I never seen something like this before because JavaScript is a very dynamic language. So you can do one simple things in a million different ways. So I I've been using the Google Developer Tool for detecting all these kind of problems.
Right. Well, but as explained in the article, that's sort of a delayed way to detect bugs because you need to actually execute to see the errors. Well, everything is useful to minimize the number of bugs that you may have in your code. Lately, I've been using a lot JS int or JS lint
Yes,
to
yes.
to to I think it also does some static analysis of code. I was not aware about this tool scope, and I think it may be uh, uh, useful besides what JS Hint and JS Lint provide. I just did not find a sort of online version of the tool like there is for JS Hint and JS Lint that you can just go in a page and paste the code and see what comes out of it in terms of eventual mistakes and warnings that you may have in there. But well, if there isn't such a thing, it would be interesting for the authors to develop an online version of the tool so we don't have to download and install it to actually use it. Anyway, I think this is useful and hopefully our listeners will also find it useful. Now moving on to another project that I personally found interesting is a tool for for having collaboration uh, um, features to your site. In this case, it is TogetherJS. I think this is developed and hosted by the Mozilla company project, and basically, I think it adds features like the ability for two people to go in a site and have users to communicate with each other while they are online. And I think it also provides means for people to talk. Let me try to just load a demo here. And as you may see on the right, there is a sort of a menu that I was wondering if I could drag it or something because it may get in the way. Anyway, this is implemented just by inserting a couple of JavaScript files, and it adds a menu here that you can control several things about the current user that is collaborating with eventually others. You can have something to invite some other user by email or another instant messaging program. And there is also the ability to activate the browser. I mean the microphone from your browser, so you can talk to the other person And there's also an obvious shed feature, and something else that I'm not sure what exactly this is. They call it silent seal. I think this is something to opt in to follow some participant. Well, I have not tried this in practice, but it looked interesting. Cesar, have you tried any tools like this that you would like to comment about? If you think this is useful, what do you think?
Actually, I have a product that I'm developing with a friend, which does more or less the same thing. I would definitely just take a look at what this project is doing, because this is open source. I've been digging a little bit in the last couple of hours, and it looks really interesting. Like they open the server side and the client side. Both are written in JavaScript. The server side it's written for Node.js. They use the WebSocket, and the enmity of this project is to do collaborations. Like from the top of my head, I could say that you are in a e-commerce website and you don't know how to buy it, so you just call to their support, and you can both just share your your uh, your screen right there and get help. So
Yeah,
that's how I find that
right.
useful.
Yes, that seems to be more towards e-commerce, or online support sites. This library here seems to promote the collaboration between um, users and uh, developers of a site. Let's say if you have a problem in a site that you have to deal with, and your users are facing that problem, maybe you can communicate with them while the problem is happening, and say they can describe it better to you via chat or voice or something. That's
Exactly.
what I understood about the purpose of this. And well, I don't know if this is the exact purpose that was meant, but that's what I read, and in that case, it seems very interesting and helpful for developers. I could remember several times that I could have used a tool like this to eventually determine if what is going on in certain pages of a site, and see probably what the user is seeing and try to fix things. And in that case, I think it makes sense, and this TogetherJS project of Mozilla could be very useful to make sites better for developers that are working on them. Well, regarding that, I think that's all we would have to talk about. But now moving on to another feature, another thing that I thought it would be interesting to comment this month is a project named the Rainy Day JS. Let me share the screen here. Gone. Okay, there it is. Well, basically, this is probably something cool that's probably not that useful because it just presents some pictures or whatever you have on your page's background, and then just show a sort of an effect for rain hitting on a glass, and it kind of shows an interesting effect. Let me try to open a demo screen here. I don't know. Can you listen to the music playing?
No, I cannot. I can.
Yeah.
I
I don't
can
know if
see.
the music that I listen in my headphones is going to the Hangout itself. Well, anyway, I don't know if this you can see more or less clearly what is going on, but I think it's a cool effect. It seems like a few drops hitting on a rain hitting on a glass, and then they roll over the glass, and it really seems like as if they are real raindrops. It's kind of funny. I don't know if you can see it very well in the streaming because my window is quite large, and I know that Hangouts try to scale it down to reduce the bandwidth. But well, the detail is great, and anyway, I'm going to post the link for this this component in some other, I mean, in the podcast notes. So anybody that is interested in actually watching this, it's very cool. And other than that, I don't know if it's more useful than that, than causing an impression. And moving on with the podcast, now I'm going to talk about a library that provides a different take on what is called the responsible web design. As you know, what is called the responsible websites are just sites that can adapt to their layouts according to the size of the screen. And this FlowType.js not only adapts the layout, but also adapts the size of the text that is being displayed. And as you may see here, I can use this button to increase the font, I mean the window, the content that is being displayed, or decrease it. And as you may see, it tries to adjust the size of the text, so it more or less takes the same text on every line to show the text, and then adapt to the screen width. Cesar, have you been working on responsive websites? Have you ever seen any thing like this that adjusts the size of the font, not just the layout of what is being displayed?
Actually, I was doing a couple of hackings to get this cool effect. Basically, the problem that I actually had was that I was in a website that load custom fonts. That means that that when you render the website and the font is not there, that means that your layout, it might be broken. And then a couple of seconds, it is fixed. So I did a couple of JavaScript lines to just check the font size with the font's dimensions with width and height. But this library, it seems really cool. Like this is a really cool thing for those. I saw a website a couple of days ago that was for the Kindle. So basically, you just go over your browser and you just flag it. I want it into my Kindle, so it will change how that page looks, so you can read it like a book from your Kindle. So, and they will definitely implementing something like these libraries. So I find this really, really cool, especially for those reading devices such as I don't know, a Kindle or similars, or iPad or something like that. But yes, definitely cool. Um, uh, Although it is important to mention, I was reading an article about responsive things. It's that it is cool if your website is responsive, but also you need to change your backend so it could be responsive. Say you can see your website cool in a mobile phone, but if the ongoing traffic is, I don't know, 300 kilobytes, that's a lot for
Yes,
a mobile.
that's a good point. Yes, I noticed that
Yeah.
because some people, usually people that are more concerned about responsive web design are web designers, so they are not working on the back end. And so they keep forgetting the detail that if you are displaying a long list of information, it's not just adapting to the size, but also to the bandwidth. Probably the device is on a connection that is not very good, and you probably have
No,
issues.
no, not only
Bandwidth.
that. Yeah, that many people are paying for not for the bandwidth, but for the traffic. Say
Exactly.
you pay I don't know, $20 and you have 1 gigabyte and that's it. If you go over that, you need to pay more. So that is
Right.
not good. So that
Yeah.
was just one off-topic mentions, but other than that, I think this library is really cool, and I would definitely use it. I would
Right, but
definitely.
it's interesting because the way it seems to be working here, maybe I'm getting it wrong. It's working in an inverted way. I mean, um, let me bring it back again so I can
So,
explain what I mean.
uh,
For instance, do you notice that, well, now it's at the largest size, and that when it is the largest size, it is with the font at the largest size too. So if I reduce the screen, it also reduces the font. So it probably will
yeah.
be harder for the users to read. Shouldn't this be
No,
the other way around? Like
no.
if the screen is small, the user, the text should be use a larger font so I can read better.
No, the thing is this, if you scroll down, you will see how it works, and it works that you say like this text, it works fine in with these thresholds, basically with a minimum font and a maximum font, or a minimum width for your container or a maximum div for your container. And as far as I see it, it is optimized for reading devices such as Kindles.
Yeah, well, I don't know.
That
That seems very small for me. If I have a small screen, for instance, I have the
yeah,
Kindle
but
app on my mobile phone, which is about 4.3 inches, and of the I mean the
that
diagonal width. And what happens is that since the screen is small, I have to increase the font so I can read the text better. And probably the area that text occupy will be larger, but in the end, I can read it better because it is a small screen, and that's it. So smaller screens, larger fonts. That's what I
yeah.
think this should be.
No, but think of this. I am with my laptop and I plug it to my TV. So now I have a very very large monitor. So a screen of, I don't know, 32 inches. So there, if you have a small font, you won't see a thing. So the fonts, they need to grow too. So I've been there.
Yeah.
I know how it
Well, but
feels.
you have a large
So
screen. I think it makes sense if you have larger resolution, but the size is small. it makes sense to increase the font. But if
Yeah,
the size is always small and the screen is not big, you need to use large fonts, even if the layout can be a bit messed up, but at least you can read it better because, well, you cannot read very small letters, I think.
yeah. The thing is that it lets you configure that, so you can say, regardless of anything, the smallest font is I don't know, 14 pixels, and that's it.
Yeah,
And the maximum font is 40 pixels. So if you are in a projector or in a bigger screen, so your fonts will be larger. That's
yeah,
how I think, but I understand what you mean, and that kind of makes sense too. I cannot say much though because I am not a phone person. Like I have a fancy phone, but just to create a Wi-Fi network, and that's it. I
right.
try to avoid it as much as possible.
Yes, okay, well, maybe I did not, well, I did not go through this the documentation of this library. Maybe it's something that is configurable, and I just could not figure it out. But well, anyway, I think this is useful, and anybody is looking into responsive
Yeah,
user
that's
interfaces could look into this.
definitely, definitely.
Um, okay, now moving on to the next topic. This one is quite simple. Is about those pages that probably have a reasonable amount of content, and probably they will take a long time to load. And to reduce the anxiety of the users, they could use a progress bar that somehow shows them how much has been loaded so far. For instance, if you go here, you can see, I don't know, it's very small, but there is a thin line at the top, and also the letters here start filling up. Let me reload this so you can see it again. Oh, it loaded very fast here, probably because I'm on a good connection, but I think
First world problem.
yeah. Well, whatever that could be, maybe it's also cached. Anyway, from what I understood, they have several styles that you can pick to define the way your progress bar appears at the top. There are some that look more like Mac OS, others that look more like Windows, and other types of user interfaces. So you get the choice of styles for defining how things look. And well, this is a simple library, but I thought it would be interesting to comment about it here. And I think regarding this, there is not much more to say. So let's move on
I
to.
I have a couple of things to say though. The first is that I see that YouTube. I don't know if they are using this particular library, but they are doing
Yeah.
something like that.
Oh
So
yeah. I also saw that thin line that appears at the top
uh,
to show
yeah,
the the sort of
and
progress bar.
yeah, and they implemented this because even if you feel that you are navigating through their site, you are just doing a couple of Ajax things. So that things that they may take time. So that's why they are using that. Also, I believe that this is not rocket science, but it is useful. Like
Yeah.
website, they need to be fast, and if
Right.
you do something wrong, people will just leave your site. So if you
Right.
show them somehow that you are doing something, they might wait there.
They might or might not wait.
Might. Yeah,
they,
might work.
they might as well say, "Oh, this site sucks. I'm not going to wait." So,
Exactly.
and well,
But
anyway, it's at least it increases the chances of the users not leaving when the page is still loading. I'm not exactly sure how they track the progress the of the load of the page. Is maybe it's something that is controlled throughout the
no,
page.
from the top of my head, how I'll implement this is that I will count all the DOM elements like images and things like that, and I would just estimate like, oh, okay, 3 images are missing, so and I have load 2, so I am in 30 something
Yeah.
percent. So it's something like
So,
that,
so
but
does it assume that the page has to be loaded and only then it starts showing the progress bar for images
it,
or other
it,
external stuff?
it shouldn't, but I haven't looked that further. Like, it should show their thing as soon as possible. Otherwise, it is pointless unless you are doing some Ajax request and things like that.
Yeah. Well,
I do remember doing something like that back in the days when I started with Flash. So
oh,
that
that
pushed
was
me
a
back a
long,
bit.
long time.
Yeah, probably 10 years ago. I was definitely thinner and much younger.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay, okay. Well, let's move on. And as I was about
sure.
to start talking about, there is another interesting library that I also found here, which does something unusual, which is to use what is called steganography to hide text in pictures. And this seems to be like a thing for secret agents. They're trying to pass information without others noticing, um, hidden messages. And well, here in the page of the project, it shows like the Last Supper of Christ with his fellows. And this is just something to relate with the intention to pass secret messages on pictures or other forms of communication. But it still, the library really does not have anything with religion or anything. What it basically does is to uh, create an image on a canvas element and then generate the necessary um, uh, I mean changes on the picture using the alpha channel to sort of pass additional information very discreetly, so you will hardly notice that the information that is on the page, I mean on the image, is there. But you can then use on another hand a way to extract that information and see what it was passed. Now, Cesar, have you ever seen anything like this? Uh, well, what would be the purpose of having something like this? What do you think?
I believe that the science is like what the painters did a couple hundred years ago has had nothing to do of what this program does.
Yeah.
They do the same thing but with different techniques. So how I believe it works is that it adds some extra bytes into every pixel. So you can decode it using the same program, but the image to the human eyes, it looks the same. So the cool thing about this library, though, is that I was testing it, and it did no backend request. Like, it It loaded my image into a canvas, and then it create a new image in another canvas, and I download it. So just browser app. That was cool. How this could be
Yeah.
useful, I don't know. I have no
Yeah.
idea, but it's cool.
Maybe Edward Snowden has a clue what a library like this could be useful for. So when
Yeah,
you want to pass
how?
information between two hands, they would
Yeah,
send a picture and smuggle some information inside using this steganography approach of using the
yeah,
alpha channel to put some information in there, and then on the other hand, you would be able to uh, sort of decrypt or maybe decode, not necessarily using encryption, and then maybe who knows. But for the person looking at the picture, it would not be able to detect anything because the alpha channel is basically a transparent. Um, it's just a layer that defines transparency of a picture, and if you can use the lower bits of the alpha channel values, it will probably not even affect the way you see the picture. So only with some software that can analyze the picture and see there are some bytes in there, you can detect
yeah.
and decode those bytes and do something useful. Well, moving on with the podcast, now we are reaching the end of this episode when we start talking about the latest classes, objects nominated for the Innovation Award of JavaScript in the PHP class site. But first, I would like to mention they're starting this month. There will be a couple of new sponsors. Fortunately, they have joined the list of sponsors that is growing from now. And let me tell you about a bit more each of one. One of them is IP to Location, which is a company that develops those databases of geo information that relates location with the, the the IP addresses that you may need to deal in web applications. For instance, when you want to know about the location of a user, you can look up his IP address in a geo IP database that the IP to location provides. And they have a very basic version of the database that is free, but if you want a more complete version, you need to upgrade. And in this case, they are providing as prize for an eventual winner of the Innovation Award the DB 515 edition of this database that includes not only the IP address to country relationship, but also details about the specific region, city, latitude, longitude, zip code, time zone, area code, and all that is provided when you look up to one of these databases. So they provide this as a prize, and you can get a full license for 1 year, so you can get any updates that they do regularly to this database. And I think this is useful when you are developing an application that needs to deal with geographic details of users and whatever is related with IP addresses. Cesar, have you ever used any this kind of geographic information related with IP addresses?
Actually, I am using the free database from the IP2 location. I like this product for several reasons. I will mention a couple. The first one is that there is a free database, which is not very detailed, but it is good enough so you can know from what country and from what region a given IP comes from. And the second is that they let you download that database, so you can host that locally. So because what other companies are doing is that they are offering you some API, but calling an external API for every dozen million times, it is expensive. It takes time. So they got it right. So IP2 location, they give you the possibility to just host that into your own server. So it is much faster.
Exactly. That's. I think I use it in the ad system that is used in the site for presenting ads that are targeted to specific countries. So if a user uses a certain country, he can see certain ads, and if he is from other countries, he probably see other ads, and that's one of interesting purposes. Now, now mentioning the other sponsor, which is a relatively new company. Well, at least as far as I knew, is CodeEnvy. I need to spell the name correctly, because people may miss it because it does not have an E in the middle of the name. Let me share the screen here. Well, this is the page of their product, and what they do is basically provide development tools on the cloud, including an IDE, which is the core of their product, and they can support many languages, including JavaScript on the server side with Node.js, PHP, Python, Ruby, and so on. Many other languages, and I think this is very interesting. For instance, for companies that need to have their developers providing the code immediately on the internet, so they can look at it, and instead of waiting for them to commit to repositories. And I think that's the scope of the tool. I just realized about it recently, and they were interested in sponsoring the site, thankfully, and welcome for them. And I would like to just bring your attention, if you want to look at this IDE on the cloud, the correct way to spell it is code and then NVI. So it's not CodeEnvy with an additional E. So it's CodeEnvy.com. And well, given that, I'd like to thank you for both these companies, IP2 location, CodeEnvy, to sponsor the Innovation Award, and other companies that may be interested in sponsoring also the award. I'll just like to let them know that if they sponsor the award, they get free exposure to their products. No money is involved. You just need to commit to provide an interesting prize for any developers that are nominated for the Innovation Award, and pick their prize. So it must be an interesting prize for JavaScript developers, and they will get plenty of exposure, not only in the award pages, but also in the pages of the packages of the authors that picked their prizes. So given that, let's move on to the actual Innovation Award nominees. This time of July of 2003, and they were
2013.
yes, sorry,
Not
they,
2003.
that was
Yeah.
many years ago. I'm trying to increase the font here, and basically what you can see is that there were like 6 nominees, and I think we have time to talk about all of these 6. Cesar, which ones would you like to comment first?
Okay, first, I can't help myself. I will talk about things that I really like. So, the first, let me see if I can share my screen. Let me see if I can just go there. Can you see it? Is it readable,
Hang on.
Manuel?
Well, I'm trying to. No, what happened? Did you switch the? No. Okay. Need to restart. You cannot minimize the window, or else it stop the screen sharing.
Yeah, I.
Okay. You need to pick the window, okay? Not the whole screen.
Uh, okay. Let me see. I don't see what I.
Well, when
Okay,
you
I'm just having some technical problems. So I would just mention them.
yes, well, what you can do is just go on the share screen window and pick the specific window of the browser that you want to show. Not the first one, which is to show all your desktop.
The thing is that I can't see.
Yeah.
I choose the. Okay, I think I would just mention the classes. So the first class that I'm going to talk about is it's the template.js. It was written by Franz Joseph Brunner. I believe I'm pronouncing that correctly. He's from Austria, and basically it is a template engine that is compiled into JavaScript. Um, it seems very interesting, and the implementation is it's extremely simple. So I
Yeah.
like both things.
Right.
I like
Actually,
that particularly
yeah.
because when you are working with yes.
Well, oh no, I was just mentioning that. Well, there are
Uh,
several other template engines. Um, uh, what I wanted to say is that
yeah,
this one was nominated because it does something different, which is to take objects as variables on the template. Maybe I can show you an example here. For instance, if you go to the example page, this you pass. I don't know if is this large enough. Oh, okay. Well, you can pass objects as
uh,
parameters, and then in the template you can
yes.
right. You can put, for instance, here you can say dimension X. So it will just go on the template and pick the attribute dimension X. So this is different than the usual
Yeah,
template engine that just takes individual values that are scalar. They are not objects. They are not properties of objects. So this is what this class does as new, because there are many other template engines that are more simpler. And I think this is probably more objective for the types of programming on which you use templates, because you can specify uh, properties and objects in the actual template. So it would be more semantic, I think. Okay, sorry, I was not
yes.
sharing the screen. I talked a
Yeah.
lot. but I was not sharing the screen. That's why you should have warned me. What are you doing? Aren't you paying attention? That's it's a bit confusing because you need to select the right window, and sometimes
Yeah, it doesn't place nice with my Linux and my multiple desktop. I have like 8, so it
yeah.
didn't work.
And okay, let me
So
just pick the right
should we
window
talk
here
about the
because
second class, or do you want to?
no, I'm picking the right window here. That's what the problem that I was having is that it was fading away because I was minimizing it. Okay, can you see it now? Okay,
I
what
can
I
see
was
it.
saying before is that you pass objects as parameters, and you can take properties of the object. So this is an object that contains another object. This object here as a name, and the dimensions is to another object that has 2 properties. Actually 3. And then in the template, you can go here and say that I want to put the dimension x here, the dimension x y here, and dimension z here. And well, this is the thing that this template engine does different. That's why it was nominated for the Innovation Award. And well, okay. I just wanted to comment this because sometimes people complain, oh, well, we just nominated a class for being innovative, when in reality it does the same as others. No, it's never the case. It always has to be innovative. So kudos to Franz Josef Brunner that actually this month submitted other classes, and it was interesting. I hope he continues to do so. So which other class would you like to mention besides this one?
I pick up another template class, which is the contemplate.
Oh, you like templates.
Basically, it processes some PHP and it makes. Yeah, I don't like template itself. I like the process which runs in the middle, which is from reading from one input. Yeah, that. I don't like views. I don't like front-end things. I try to avoid them as much as possible. But he took advantage of many things like PHP code. It looked very much like JavaScript.
Yeah.
For instance, there is a project which is the PHP.js.org, which basically they have implemented like the whole standard library from PHP into JavaScript, and because JavaScript, it doesn't care about dollar signals, so all the variables, they do make sense. So that was impressive. So the thing that I like about this class is that it gives you the possibility to reuse probably a couple of views that you might have written into PHP, and you could use those directly from your front end or from your back end using Node.js. And this class, it was written by Nikos M. He's from Greece.
Yeah.
I don't know his family name though. It's just M. I don't know
mysterious.
What that could
M as mysterious. Well, this actually also published several other interesting classes, and we'll get to back ahead to those. Just to mention the. Apart from what you said, this template engine he also provided a PHP class that was submitted to the PHP classes repository. And what these classes have in common is that they share the same template format. So the template format that hope you can see. I don't know if this is large enough. Can you see it here? Is it large enough for you to read?
I can see it.
Okay, so this is the template format, and this is you made it. You can take a look at it, and it pretty much looks a lot like PHP. And well, what matters is that this template engine is available on both PHP and JavaScript. So if you have a PHP application, you can render your templates on the server side with PHP or on the browser side. And this is great, especially for Ajax applications on which you are sending the content to the browser. I mean, the parameters and stuff that you can use to pass to the template engine, and it will render the template. So you don't have to send the processed HTML to the browser. It can be processed on the browser side using JavaScript, or at the server side using PHP. So that's why it was nominated. So I think this is a great idea. I've never seen anything like this. Definitely, it's from somebody that works with both PHP and JavaScript. So other than that, I think it would be interesting if you could comment on another one, and then I'll comment on the remaining three. So which other class did you pick?
Yeah, I'm going to talk about the optics class. This is also about one thing that I like to do on my spare time, which is basically I don't know what the optics algorithms actually does, but it says that it is for finding points into a cluster. A cluster is basically a group of similar things. Say we do have a large amount of text and we want to cluster them. What the expected result will actually be is that all the similar text are grouped all together, say about sports and science and things like that. So this algorithm, apparently it helps you group those points in the clusters. In case of text, those points, those will be words, because those are the features. So I haven't looked at that photo yet, but I will definitely download it and I will start playing with it.
Yeah,
definitely.
This pretty much
very interesting.
Yeah, this pretty much looks like one of those things that you like, since I know that you enjoy studying academic papers and the implementation of the algorithms in practice. I remember that you developed many PHP classes that follow this pattern. And you feel free to send also your own JavaScript classes, because I'm sure the JS classes site audience will appreciate. And now, just to mention the part what you said, this is yet another class from Josef Brunner from Austria, and as I mentioned before, he submitted several classes, and this one is precisely for what you said, is to take a look at a set of points in a 2D space and cluster them, actually group them to find clusters. So all these points here are related, and you could see they are part of the same group. And he also, part of this class also is to do something that is to render the cluster in a canvas object. So not only you can apply the algorithm but see the results visually.
Yeah, that is a very important thing. Like if you see a couple of numbers that may not make sense, but when you see it into a canvas, that makes much easier.
Yeah. And now moving on also to, it's my turn to mention the remaining classes. This month we had 6 nominees. You mentioned 3. I'll mention the other 3, which are also really interesting. And it is great because over time you can see that more and more innovative classes do things that are really special, really amazing. And one of them is this one, JS carousel. Let's share the screen here. Again from Nikos and from Greece, and this is really impressive, at least visually. It used the 3JS library to render pictures. You know, those carousels that appear on web pages usually are pictures that are put side by side, and you can scroll them next to each other. So this one does the same, except that it's in a 3D space. And I'm trying. Let me see if I can show the live example. You will need to have your browser enabled with WebGL. I'm not sure if yes, and I'm not sure if that is the case. So you can see, you can drag the mouse and you can rotate. You can also click on a picture at the end, and it scrolls the picture at the front. You can also use the mouse up and down to bring the pictures closer. And this is awesome. This is all at runtime. Well, currently I have a relatively powerful machine with Core i7. I don't know if this demands much CPU or it's just a matter of having an up-to-date 3D graphics card with WebGL support. And this should work well in all machines because I assume that since it works well on my Linux machine running on Chrome, it should run well on other machines running other OSs, Mac OS or Windows. I don't know if this requires a newer Chrome version. I don't think so. This probably is has great support, and this really gives a great impression of what you can do, and it should also give other ideas what you can do with in 3D. This is on top of the 3JS library, and I think if you study that library, you can think of other interesting possibilities applying 3D effects on web browsers. Cesar, have you tried this 3JS library on your developments?
No, I don't do much front-end, but actually I'm gonna check that now because I don't use Chrome. I use Chromium. That means that if it works into Chromium, that it should work in every Chrome, basically. Just going to the.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Then after it works, you'll let me know. And anyway, moving on to the next nominee that I also would like to comment, which is basically something quite different as well, but for a different purpose. Let me share the screen here, and the name of this package is Automated Screenshot Diff. And basically what it can do is to take screenshots of captures of web pages and compare them, so you can notice if there are any changes. This could be, for instance, if you are testing a JavaScript application and you have two versions of a page that was generated by one version of your application, You can generate a screenshot, for instance, with Casper.js library. I think this is basically an headless browser, which is basically a browser that does not have a user interface. It's just meant to render pages of certain URLs, all done programmatically. And with this, you can generate a screenshot. And what this package does, this one of Igor Escobar from Brazil, what it does is to compare the screenshots. And this is useful to detect eventual changes in your application due to bugs that may have broken something in the way the application should work. And this is to help in testing your applications. This, for me, I think this is very advanced programming. This is far beyond what the usual JavaScript programming used to be in the past. Not just forms and Ajax and things. This is very advanced. And kudos to Igor Escobar for his contribution. I hope he can continue to send more contributions like this. I don't know what you think, but I was really impressed with this package. What did you think, Cesar?
I think it is impressive for several things. First, it is using this Casper.js, I believe. I don't know what that is, but it looks, according to Wikipedia, it looks pretty much like Phantom.js, which I've been using, which is basically a header browser. Like as you said before, you have some pseudo JavaScript that you can execute there. People are actually using it for running tests. Say like I want you to go and click there, and I expect this. I don't do that. I was just doing a couple of website automate screenshots basically, and it works out of the box. And the other thing that was impressive was that he compared images. So that is not something simple. So he passed on two complicated things. So it is really cool. And as you said, like this is completely non-standard thing. Like this is something that is really cool.
Yeah, exactly. And one thing that I also like to comment regarding, well, this is the Innovation Award, and the results of the nominees come from the votes of the users. And unfortunately, this package did not get many votes, but that does not mean that it's not a sophisticated package. Just means that probably the users that voted on it were not aware what was the purpose, and did realize that it's quite sophisticated. That's it.
I guess to that because it is not a standard thing. Like you cannot run it from your browser or from Node.js. You require to install a couple of things. So that's what some people, they didn't vote for them. I would definitely just vote for that class. I mean, I love it, and yeah, basically that.
Okay, and now moving on to one final class that I'm going to mention here, which is the mod 3, which is basically a library for modifying 3D objects that used to be done in a library for Flash called AS3D mod. And this one was again developed by Nikos M from Greece, and this is also very sophisticated. I was trying to render an example here, but for some reason it was not rendering right now in my browser. Anyway, you can see on this screenshot here this is a capture of what the library does of a 3D flip book. you have probably seen those flipbook effects on emulate the turning of a page, but this one goes farther and do it all in 3D in perspective and such. I'm going to try it once more if I can run the live example here. Well, for some reason it is not working, but I have seen it before. So we would have one flip right and flip left buttons. Well, unfortunately I cannot render it, but that's okay. I think we have mentioned enough about this library, and hopefully users will also find it interesting. Practically we have ended this podcast hangout, and just like to thank you again, Cesar, for coming. Helping on this hangout to comment on all the interesting stuff about the JavaScript world. Usually this would be co-hosted by Michael Kimsel, but he has been very busy and probably be very busy until the IndieConf event that he is organizing every year. It will take place sometime soon. So if you are interested, and probably you'll still go in time to attend, it's indieconf.com, and you'll find there Michael Kimsel and many other interesting speakers. So on my part, thank you again, Cesar, and that should be all for now. Bye.
Okay, bye-bye.